Buckle up, Buttercup. You're in for a ride. Today, we're doing winter chili dinner. Don't be so judgy. And we're going to dip into some 2XO whiskey. Let's go. I know it's a stupid heading. I'm sorry, but we're going to get into all of the things. But first, let's get something into the glass. So I got gifted a sample pack of, I think, all of the expressions from 2XO whiskey. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background on 2XO whiskey. I am going to open up sample one called the Phoenix Blend. It is 104 proof, and these samples came to me from Dylan over at the Whiskey House Pub House. I'd like to give him a shout out first thing. And also, I wanted to let you guys know that this episode right here is sponsored by none other than the Texas Whiskey Festival. It is going on April 12th, 2025 at Bee Cave, Texas. It's a Spur Hill Ranch. Be there or be squared. We'll get into why in a little bit. They're doing amazing stuff. There's going to be like 40 Texas-based distilleries there. It's going to be an amazing time. The VIP has sold out. So sorry about your bad luck. Get a general admission ticket, get a hotel, get an Uber. It's going to be a lot of fun. So let's get into 2XO. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of story about 2XO. So basically, it's called Heritage Meets Modernity? Is that a word? Modernity? Modernity meets modern, I would say. Anyway, I'm reading from 2XO's website, just to let you know. A contemporary twist on a historic blending tradition. 2XO is an award-winning Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey brand from renowned American whiskey blender Dixon Dedman, which is a freaking awesome name, right? If that's his real name, right? 2XO means 2 times oaked, referring to the blending process that Dixon pioneered, where every 2XO expression has additional oak exposure. The additional oak interacts, building up the sweetness and balance and spice from the rye and the mash bill, creating a unique combination of intense flavors, characters complex. Dixon's vision is revolutionizing this category and shifts away from overplaying nostalgia of American whiskey and creating innovative brand backed by an incredible liquid in the bottle. Let's talk about Dixon. Dixon Dedman is a 42-year-old blender who has quickly established himself as one of the most prolific American whiskey blenders in the industry, known for his high-proof, robust bourbon and rye blends. He grew up in the whiskey trail, infusing the learning of the industry legends and expertise from running his own family business. He is a James Beard award-winning Beaumont Inn. His credentials are unsurpassed among high-end whiskey retailers, writers, and collectors. He is a foodie, wine connoisseur, runs marathons, and is a sneakerhead who connects with a broad range of drinkers for millennia. So my mouse is being stupid. It's being very stupid. And it will not scroll down. So I'm having to do it from my computer, which I don't like doing because it's annoying. I am very, I'm very a creature of habit. And when something happens, all right. So we are dipping into the Phoenix Blend. This is the first blend, the first release of the limited time small batch offering. The Phoenix Blend's mouthfeel is viscous with notes of caramel, vanilla on the front, moving to a bright, ripe red fruit in the middle, finishing with a mild peppery spice. This one is sold out, and it was released November 2022. Let's get into it real fast. I have 6 of these to go through. I'm going to give a very small sample, and then we will move on to the next topic. And in between the topics, I will dipping back into the 2XO, the next one and the next one. And it'll just be like an ongoing thing because I got a couple of responses from the Macaroonies episode that I did where I did a tasting of all of their the samples that I had, and it got pretty good response. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to do that, but this one has other things in it that are not 2XO related, which I think is kind of cool too. So we're drinking some whiskey. I've never had 2XO before, so I'm excited to jump into it. I don't know the distilleries or anything. He is very tight-lipped about the distilleries he's pulling barrels from. He is a non-distilling producer. He's blending these whiskeys, and this one is the first one. So let's go in on it. The nose is nice. Ooh, it's got a lot of vanilla. A lot of vanilla on there, actually. I know that's what he said, but, you know. Let's get it on the taste. And this is the first whiskey of the day, guys. It better be. Oh, Lord. That's not bad. For the first one, it's not bad. A little peppery on the back end. Ooh, a lot peppery. It's coming in. I will say this. It's a little bit watery. A little bit watery on the palate. Or maybe that's just my saliva. I'm going to give it a second to breathe. I have a thimbleful left in there. I might actually pour just a little bit more. I wasn't going to, but I need to get acclimated. That was almost like my warm-up pour, if you want to call it that. I'm not trying to get snockered today. I still have stuff to do, and I got a long work week next week, which is amazing. I'm so proud of that. Let's get into this first subject. First subject. Little water break. I'm a dummy. I'm sorry. You have to excuse me. Just wanted to thank all of the new listeners that are listening and watching the show. I greatly appreciate it. There has been an uptick in listenership and viewership on the channel, and I appreciate it so much. It is a Sunday afternoon. I want to before I get into anything else, I want to preface something where I personally live. There has been a fire, but not in my house, obviously, about 6 miles away from me, 8 miles as the crow flies, straight back that way. It has so far destroyed over 10,000 acres. And we are in the Texas Hill Country, which has a lot of trees, a lot of hills, a lot of farms, a lot of animals. As of right now, as of recording this, there was no loss of life yet, which thank God for that. And I think even livestock and stuff like that are fine. There are some homes that have been destroyed. They cut fences. They did all the things so that the animals could not, be stuck there. So there's going to be a lot of rebuilding. And so if any of you are affected by that, I pray for you. We did we had a worship group at the house last night, and we spent our entire time praying for the victims, the firefighters, the volunteers, all of the people, because it is a horrible thing and anybody who's been in a catastrophic event like that, be it a tornado, hurricane, fire, whatever it is, earthquake, it is devastating. And thoughts and prayers go to all of the people that are having to deal with that still to this day. They are still fighting the fire. Luckily, it is moving away from a rural area, more out into fields and stuff like that. That doesn't mean it's not going to be loss and damages and stuff like that. And it is up to 40% contained right now. So that's a good sign, because yesterday we had really high winds, and it was just getting the fire even more. You could see the plume of smoke from Austin, which I'm about an hour and a half from Austin. So just, if you're the praying type, a quick prayer, that's all we need to do. All right, let's get into the first topic. So I was graciously invited back to the Andalusia Chili Cook-Off. Yeah. This is their third annual, and I've been to all three as of right now. The first one, I ended up taking first place in Texas Red, which is the traditional style chili. The second year, we'll talk about that for a minute. The second year, I was 4 weeks off of chemo. So my palate was skewed, very much so. And so my chili was way too salty because I couldn't taste it, right? I couldn't taste the salt in it. It had good flavor, but it was way too salty. And I was trying to be too traditional. Okay. And by traditional, I mean, I used like the chilies that you get in the bag, like they're the whole dried chilies. And I crushed them down, added water, and made a chili paste, as we would call it, a mole here. And I literally made chili just from that without adding any other sauces or anything like that. And it was super chili forward. So it was spicy. It was super dark and rich, which was good. But then it was also overly salted. So I didn't do good. So the first year I won. The second year I did not even place, which I totally understand. And I will tell you, I got a little butthurt. I'm not going to lie. I got a little butthurt about it. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I'm a sore loser is why. But it was also one of those things like, this is part of the whiskey community thing that I'm talking about. Okay. I recorded the intro to this stupid podcast like 4 times because I couldn't get it right. So that might have been one of the other intros I did. So if not, part of the chili and this other part that we're going to talk about is about whiskey community and being a part of said community. And that's what I'm going to get into here in a second. Let's get back in on this Phoenix. There's a thimble left. Not even. It's really nice. It is a little watery. Tannins are nice on it. I drink that. I'm interested in to get into the rest of them, obviously. But I'm going to get halfway through my story and then we'll pour the next one. Number 2, the Innkeeper. I'm pouring a little water in my Glencairn so that I can, wash out. All right, let's get back to the chili cook-off, right? So I went to, this would be last weekend that I went, and loaded up, went. This time I did not use my turkey fryer. I have a turkey fryer, it's a big burner, you set your pot on. The issue with that particular one is it's either on or it's off. Like you can't turn it to low. The fire keeps going out and it's not great. So I borrowed one of my buddies has a Camp Chef, which if you don't know what that is, it's literally a 3-burner grill that is propane that you set up, and it has a little wind block and all that, and you can adjust it down pretty low because I don't want to like boil the crap out of the chili, right? So you are supposed to make all of it or 95% of it at the chili cook-off. I'll get into that. So I had made the base or the not meat part the night before because I wanted to cut up all the ingredients. I'm not going to tell you them because then you'll win and it won't be worth it, right? I did all the ingredients and the chilies and stuff like that, put them in there, cooked them for like 30, 45 minutes, not long, just enough to sweat some of the onions and stuff like that. And then let it cool down and stuck it in the fridge. So I really didn't cook it. I just kind of, got it cohesive because as you well know, with some dishes, depending upon the dish, the next day it tastes even better. So that's what I was hoping to get some of that cohesiveness and the structure through the chili. And I looked at so many different recipes, and I don't know if any of you are cooks out there and you like to cook or anything, but looking at recipes online is annoying because they always want to send you to Pinterest, right? And Pinterest in itself is absolutely stupid. Because when you click on the link, say, oh, that's a chili recipe, award-winning chili or whatever. You click on it, it takes you to the recipe and you're like, all right, cool. So you start scrolling down. There's 8 million, and I mean 8 million ads. And it like pop up. And you're like, oh my God, I need literally the recipe just so I can kind of look at it and see what I got and what they got, blah, blah, blah. I did that probably 12 times. I had a recipe in my head. I already know what to make. I just didn't know if maybe there was something else I could put in there to make it a little bit different. So I did that a lot. And I got so frustrated at the end. I started getting to the recipe and just screenshotting it with my phone, and just one. And on some of them, it had the pop up right in the middle and I couldn't see it. And I had to redo it. It was really annoying. So I say all that to say this. So I found a recipe. I twisted it, turned it, changed it, turned it on its head, made it into my recipe, which that's what people do, right? You take somebody else's recipe, tweak it a little bit, and make it your own. Because I wanted to have a little bit of spice, because I think chili without spice is like spaghetti sauce, right? It needs spice to it. Now, I'm not talking 5-alarm chili, right? Here, I don't want it to be so hot it burns your lips. It does all the things. I don't want that. What I want is a good cohesive chili that has a good meat profile and it has a little burn on the back end. And I feel, and I'm not tooting my own horn, I feel I accomplished that. So I get to the chili cook-off, and normally my son goes with me. He's 12. Normally my son goes with me. And yes, it is at Andalusia Whiskey, one of the best, if not the best, Texas single malt distillery there is. And he wasn't feeling well at school on that Friday. And he even had a little bit of a fever. And we were like, oh, okay, we're not doing that. But of course, like kids, they're resilient. And he, came home, went to bed, ate food, checked his temp. He was good. The next day he had baseball pictures. So my wife said, well, he's just going to go with me and then we'll come meet you out there when it's time for us to show up. So we were told, as the cooks, we were told to get there early so we could cook everything on site. So 8:00 was when you could get there. So I loaded up early because I'm about an hour, little over an hour from Blanco. So I loaded up early, drove down there, and by the time I got there was nobody there. And I'm like, okay, the gate was open, but nobody was there. So I was like, I don't know where to set up. They just installed a new septic system. So like on the side where I would normally set up, there was like cones and, septic pipes and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, no, not right here. So there was a guy who was already set up. And he was like, hey, just set up by me. And I saw him last year and the year before. He's been there just like me every year. Sat up next to him. And it was really cool because I don't know the man that well. You know what I mean? But we've became friends through this. It's not like I call him. I don't text him. I don't, stuff like that. But, we've become friends through this. And it's really cool. And so we sat there and we talked, and I asked him questions about his chili. He asked questions about mine. He asked where my son was. So like he was very invested in the conversation, as was I. And so that makes me go back to the whiskey community. Like, I don't know his whiskey preferences. Obviously, he's at Andalusia. He was wearing an Andalusia shirt even. So he must like Andalusia at least a little bit, right? But I didn't know where he was coming from. But after talking with him, like I said, I got there at 8. So judging, or people weren't allowed to show up till 12. Judging was at 2. So we had a couple of good hours to cook our food, get it ready, put it in the pot and boil it down, right? And that's just what I did. I cooked my meat, put my pot on, got everything simmering nice and low, tasted it. Once I put the meat in it, tasted it, make sure it didn't need any extra salt or pepper, not too much salt, right? Make sure it didn't need anything else. Well, I did adjust a couple things, like some more garlic or whatever, I might even put a little bit more chili powder in it. I don't remember right offhand, but I felt like, oh man, that's good. Okay. So then we're sitting there, we're talking about family, life, whiskey, all the things. And my buddy Marshall from Rough Spirits, he's been on a couple of my lives. He's going to be on the podcast hopefully soon to talk to us about rum. And he was coming as well. He was running late. He was helping family. That's what you got to do as a dude. You got to help family out when they call. And so he was like, man, I'm on my way, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, do y'all need anything? Whatever. Very cordial. And then, so then one other guy had showed up before Marshall did, because he showed up a little late, right? Which was fine. And this other guy, we asked if we could help him set up, and he was kind of, whatever, it's fine. He had most of it, right? Looked like he had done it quite a few times. He had like little banners up and a flag and all the things. Well, then he pulls out crock pots. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. Well, and I'm not trying to be, follow the rules guy, because I don't give a crap. Do what you want. But in the email that we got about making the chili, said that everything, 85% of it had to be made on site. There would be no power. There would be no, no water hookup, no nothing. But he brought these. And so he brought a generator. Well, generators are loud. Well, then Ty, the owner of Andalusia, shows up and he's like, bro, don't use the generator. It's going to be too loud. We'll run an extension cord for you. And I was like, well, that's cool. That's sweet. But at the same time, you don't follow the guidelines, right? You don't follow the guidelines. Not that I'm trying to be that guy, but at the same time, I'm like, come on, man, do the thing, right? Do what do what you need to do to get that done. So it wasn't, I'm not going to say it was disheartening because it doesn't matter to me, right? Do what you want. It's fine. I am clicking on the Innkeeper now. This is the Innkeeper blend, release date April of 2023. The Innkeeper blend is the second small batch in the brand's iconic Innkeeper blend, pays homage to Dedman's family, century plus old hospitality industry, and the previous owners of the Beaumont Inn on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. The Innkeeper's blend is a mouthful, viscous caramel, blah, 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 and finishing with the light peppery spice. It's saying the same things over and over again. The bottle design, it's just a basic wine bottle, right? And I will have it on the thumbnail, at least one of the bottles. But like the embossing on the label is really cool. It's like gold. And this one has like a light, like one of those gas lantern lights that you would have like on an old house or something like that. Really pretty cool. But the notes on mine are very similar to the Phoenix. So this might just be Phoenix 2.0. Who knows? Let's get into it real fast, and then I'll continue with my story. I said I was going to do that, and I'm trying to. Now, this one is fruity up front, though. This one is different for sure. It's very fruity. What is the proof on this one? 104. Okay, this one is, I think I might like it better. I will rank these at the end, obviously. I think I like it a little better. I'm going to move it a little bit forward, right? I think I like it a little bit better. It does kind of wash out at the end too, which I don't know if that's just the profile that he's going for, that it leaves you with like a crispness. It is peppery at the end too, but it leaves you with a crispness and not much else. So like the mouthfeel afterwards, or the lingering palate, the finish on it is pretty short. But the flavors that are there are good. So anyway, it's I would say it's better than the Phoenix. I'll just, that's just right now. This is the first time, and I will go back through these later at some other point and critique it if I have to. But I think they're going to potentially get better and better as we go. That's what my hope is. But moving on. So, I'm not trying to be a stickler for people that don't follow the rules, because I don't give a shit. Okay, really, I don't. Do whatever you want. Doesn't matter to me. If your chili's good, it'll show. I don't care if you make it in a crock pot or a cook pot or a freaking smoker. However you do it, just bring it. You know what I mean? So Marshall finally shows up, and he pulls his truck over, and luckily there's not people there yet. So we help him unload his truck. And from that point on, all in good fun. All of this is in good fun. From that point on, it is full on harassment. Absolutely. It is full on harassment from that point on. We are bantering back and forth, all three of us at this point. Your stuff sucks. You're going to lose. We can't all be number one. Go over there and taste the number 2 chili. That type of stuff is going on. And before, and I think the other guy's name is Chris. If I'm mistaken, I'm sorry. Oh, let me look it up real fast. I do have his info. It's not Chris. It's Mike. Mike, I'm sorry. But dude, I don't know why. I forgot your name. Mike, one of the easiest names to remember in the world, but yet I forgot it. So anyway, Mike, he was a baller, but even he was getting in on it. And I'm like, dude, we're supposed to be nice to each other. But I will tell you, the whiskey community comes out, brother. Comes out. So Marshall starts cooking, doing all his stuff. I'm just simmering down and trying to get all my stuff cohesive together. And then they come around and they're like, okay, we're fixing to get going on this. Here's your sample cups, here's your thing, blah blah blah, do all your things. So we're getting set up. And then we start pouring, well, not pouring, but doling out samples for everybody. And at first it was slow. It was pretty slow at first because it was like right at 12, right? And then my wife showed up, and that was fun. They were, my son, he did come, and he didn't have fever or anything anymore. He was feeling good. He did feel bad though. He was like, Dad, I should have been here in the morning. I said, but I don't want you to come if you're not feeling well. Obviously, I don't want you, for one, getting other people sick if you are, and then if you're feeling bad, you don't need to be outside in the wind and stuff like that. Anyway, that's just me trying to be good dad, I guess. But they show up, and his job when he always was with me was to do reconnaissance, right? And go look at other people, make sure they're not kind of psych them out a little bit. You know what I mean? That was his job. And so he said, I'm going to go do that. I was like, all right, go ahead. And so he went over there and he tried the other people's chili. And one of them, he said, oh man, it had so much alcohol in it, he could barely drink it or barely eat it. And I was like, yeah, you probably shouldn't have, bud. You know what I mean? Like they should let you know. I mean, it's not a 21 and up type thing, but anyway, they put some booze in it. The first year I put Andalusia Striker in my chili. Take that for what it is. It was actually really good. It gave it a smokiness to it. Anyway, I digress. But so we're doing our thing, and then all of a sudden it gets busy, and I'm like, oh crap. So I start pre-making the little cups. They're like little Dixie cups, right? That you would in the bathroom, those little bathroom cups, right? I was just filling them up. And what I did this year, especially, I brought cheese and Fritos, because when you're eating chili, you don't just want to eat chili, right? You want to have something with it. So I made one naked, which didn't have anything, and one dressed. And more people went towards the dressed because they wanted to have that little extra crunch and that thing. Anyway, so we did that I ended up running out of chili. Yeah, I made 2.5 gallons of chili, if not more. So next year, plot twist, next year I'm making more. I said that last year too, but I just didn't remember. So so we did the thing, and then they came around. Oh, they had these little cups, which was like a Glencairn type rocks glass. And they put them on our thing, and that was for people's choice. So everybody who got a ticket to be in the tasting, they got a ticket that they could put in there to pick for people's choice. So there's that. We'll get to that part. I'm trying to make this a little faster because I still got 2 other things to talk about. So, but I will say, all in all, the whiskey community came out and they supported and they loved it. And there was a bunch of people, Texas Whiskey Geek was there. A bunch of other people were there just showing up for Andalusia. Not only they had a live band, they had kids running around. There was dogs. It was just a fun time. And there is a restaurant there on site called the Speakeasy Grill. They do some amazing stuff. We got good hamburgers. She was actually making a chili as well. She was not in the competition, but she was making chili as well. So if you wanted to have chili overload, you could go have some of her chili as well, which I heard was pretty good. It was made with oxtail. Anyway. So we get, and then they come around and they say, we need 4 samples for the judges. And that better be your good stuff, right? So I'm like making sure that it's warm, making sure that I'm not scraping the bottom and getting, because sometimes you're going to get some residual charring on the bottom, especially when you're heating with open flame, right? So I'm trying not to scrape the bottom, doing all the things, filling up the cups real nice and full, but yet making sure there's got big chunks of meat in it, doing my best for them. And so I do that, send it off and just hope and a prayer, right? Hope and a prayer at this point. So we're BS and everybody's having fun. And then the people, when they would go to the different stations, it was Mike, then me, then Marshall, then I can't remember the other guy's name. And then there was a couple more over there, we were all talking crap to each other the whole time, which is perfect, which was exactly what I wanted, right? We would just want a good old camaraderie and everybody giving everybody crap, and it was a lot of fun. And we tried each other's chilies and stuff like that, and we were like, man, that's really good, and whatever, yours is crap, whatever. We just did the thing, and that gets me to the camaraderie part. Whiskey community is not just about what's in the glass. It's not. It's not about what's in the glass, which this glass is empty now. It is about people and getting to know people and being around people of like interests and just taking that a step further and saying, hey, we're buds now because we went through a thing together. Like this chili cook-off, it's not a big deal. Win or lose, it's not a big deal. It's fun. And that's the thing. This a little caveat. Actually, I'm going to pour number 3 here in a second. This is a little caveat because we are 32 minutes in. So, water, the water of life. It's not about winning or losing on these things. It's about having fun, and it's about just hanging out, being cool. You know what I mean? Not taking it serious, bro. Like, guess what? Life's too short to take it serious. And the world right now, I say the devil, but you say what you want. The world right now is at your throat, right? And it has been. It's more present sometimes than other. Like we going through this fire stuff, and we're not personally going through it, but we know people who are. Close friends of my wife had to evacuate from their house type stuff. So, and then all of the stuff that you're hearing about that I don't talk about, those are other podcasts that you can go listen to if you want to hear about stuff like that. But, all of the turmoil throughout the world, and it's disheartening, right? It makes you hopeless sometimes, where you're like, dude, this ain't fun. This ain't fun. But being around like-minded people, doing something cool, doing something different, and it just happened to be at a really cool whiskey place, like top day, dude, top day, win or lose, top day. Now, I know, let's get to the point of the matter. But before we do that, let's talk about the tribute. I got to get to it first, which means I got to do this. All right. It was released in September 2023. The tribute blend is the third batch. It's a one-off release small batch. Each blend is different by its own name. The tribute blend is a nod to Dixon's parents and the path they paved for him. It has initial sweetness, finishes. It's the finish with a muted but lingering spice that hangs on for a long time. So this one, the tasting notes are a little bit different, but it says it drops off. It's milder. So let's see if it really is. $104. Yeah, $104. That one has some, it's almost ethanol-y. Not phenolic, but ethanol forward. Yeah, I like the long finish on it. It is peppery. And it sits with you for a minute. All right, I'm going to let that sit, and then we'll keep talking. So we got our cups. And then they're waiting. We're just waiting. And then I run out of chili. Right? I already said that. I run out of chili. Well, guess what? People are still coming by. And I got to meet again, which I already knew this person, one of our loyal Patreons, Scott. And he was there, and I very much appreciated it. And I had no chili to give him. A patron, and I have no chili for him. Go to patreon.com/thewhiskeyshaman if you want to sign up today, and I'll give you some chili. My mustache is touching the mic again. I need to trim the mustache, get a haircut. Dude, my hair's been growing so fast lately. I love it because remember, like a year ago, remember those videos? Those were scary. Uncle Fester over here in the shed. Yeah. But it just goes to show the journey that we're on, right? It really does. And that's what part of this chili cook-off was for me. It was pushing forward through adversity and kind of rebranding of myself, I feel. I'm back. I'm stronger. Not as strong as I was, but I'm stronger than I was last year. I have more vitality. I don't care. I don't care what people think about me. I don't care anything. I'm going to present my product, and if you like it, great. If you don't, peace out. I did bring Glencairns and challenge coins and a QR code, and guess what? Nobody even looked at it. So next year I will not have those. So if you come and you want a Glencairn, you'll have to catch me before, because I will not have them for sale at the thing, because I don't want to be that guy. I will have a new banner that says Whiskey Shaman Podcast on it. So just to let you know, you'll be able to know, because I have my old whiskey business one, which still is my LLC for said podcast, but the website's debunked as of right now because stupid Squarespace. Anyway, if you guys are website designers, please hook me up. We need to talk. Anyway, so they at 2:00 they were doing the announcing, and I had just ran out of chili, and they gave me one free drink ticket. So guess what I did? I went and got me an old-fashioned Striker, old-fashioned, of course, and away to Judging. And Marshall and I and Mike, we were just hanging out, and there was a couple other people, obviously the other ones that were there. And it was really cool just hanging out. And by this time, the whole patio was full of people. The live band had stopped, and well, I'll just get into it. Yeah, as it might say in the heading, I did take first place in the Texas Red. I did. Thank you. No, none of that. More like this. Redemption? Possibly. But the thing was, good sportsman-like conduct, right? You got to be a good sportsman. The first year that I won was the very first year that they did it. So they did not have any swag. I got a bottle of whiskey, which I'll take that all day long. But this year, I got a trophy, or a what is that called? A medallion, right? It says first. So it's hanging in the whiskey room right now, because I feel like it, kind of showcases not only Andalusia, but the fact that, I actually know what I'm talking about. Not to be big-headed or anything like that, but I'm going to get back into this tribute blend real fast. The nose, it's not much there. The taste is nice. It has a vanilla caramel. It's like a little creamy. Then that spice comes in. It lingers for about 15 seconds, and then it does this ethanol ding, like almost at the end, and it like prickles the tip of my tongue. It's okay. I think I like the Innkeeper a little better than that, actually. The Phoenix is least favorite so far. But of course, taste is so subjective. So just understand that. I would say if you want to try a 2XO, pick one up. They're good blends for sure. None of these are bad whiskeys. Okay. All right. So I already talked about our sponsor, right? TexasWhiskeyFestival.com. Go get your tickets today. But, we have some other sponsors as well. I want to give a shout out, for if they're not a sponsor yet, to Andalusia Whiskey. Absolutely. Andalusia Whiskey in Blanco, Texas. Go check them out. They're doing some amazing things with American single malt and brandies and rum. And there's a gin coming out. Just saying, brother. And they do a white spirit that they make like margaritas and stuff like that with. Really nice. So yeah, go check them out. You guys know I love Andalusia and always will. So they're doing some amazing stuff. And Moose just wasn't there at this for this chili cook-off, which made me kind of sad because he is my buddy and he's crazy and I love him to death. So Moose, if you're listening to this, you were surely missed. But I get it, dude. He works all week long. He don't want to be up there on the weekend doing special events too. I totally understand it, you know. One of the teams that submitted something, and I'm moving on, I promise, had supposedly had rattlesnake in their chili. Take that for what it is. I don't know. Maybe not. I didn't see the rattlesnake get skinned and put in there, but I'm not saying people are lying. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying nobody's lying. You can find rattlesnake meat, I'm sure, and go to I know in Lampasas, Texas, they have a rattlesnake roundup quite a bit, and you can eat rattlesnake if you want it. So, not saying they didn't, but that's creepy. I don't like it. All right, let's move on. So, we are sponsored by the Texas Whiskey Festival, and it is going to be an amazing show. So, go do that. And also, Z Smith Whiskey and Mixology. Go give Zach a follow, like, a subscribe, all of the things. He's doing amazing stuff with cocktail curation and also bar backing, and he does private tastings. Amazing dude, doing amazing things. And Bad Motivator Barrels. You know them, you love them. The Infinity Blend. I need to get the dang American Single Malt out of there. I don't think I'll do it this weekend. Because I'm going to put bourbon, sticky, icky, high proof bourbon in it now. So it's going to be a sherry influenced bourbon. That's going to be amazing. So let me know in the comments or leave a review or whatever. What do you think I should put in the bourbon Infinity Blend? I might even do a poll. I'll do a poll if I remember. I mean, I'm going to turn and burn this one, so I should remember. But I'm going to do a poll and say, what bourbons do you want me to put in there? And then I will leave one open for you can put yours. Because I have 2 or 3 that I'm almost certain I'm putting in there. I just want to, kind of get your feedback. I don't want it to be something too allocated, obviously. I want it to be a cheaper bottle, but I want it to be a higher proof bottle. So anyway, understanding that, Bad Motivator Barrels, there is a sponsored affiliate link down below, which I do get a kickback on that if you do purchase a barrel. They are doing some amazing stuff. They have all different types of barrels now. There's chestnut, cherry, Garyana oak, however you want to do it, used oak. I used wilderness trail barrels. Whatever you want, go over there and check it out for whatever your needs for a barrel may be. Anyway, moving on. I talked about the Texas Whiskey Festival twice already, right? It's a super sponsorship for them. But the reasoning is, pause, because we are going to get into our next one, which is oh man, this one's going to be hard for me to say. The Kiawah blend, Kiawah blend. Okay, it was released April of 24. So let's get into it. This is the 4th release. It's a limited batch. Blah blah blah. The Kiawah blend is a nod to his happy place where he goes with his family and friends to relax, unwind, and recharge. It has a viscous mouthfeel, rich, moving initial sweetness off of the front of the palate, moving to more savory notes in the mid palate, and finishing with a lingering pepper spice. Here we go. So let's get into the nose on this one. I'm guessing 104 proof. Yes. The nose is nice. Not gonna lie, the nose is nice on this one. It's almost jammy. Mm-hmm. Okay. That one has the pepper spice is pretty potent at the back end. Vanilla, caramel, cream with not overwhelming, but over a line all the way through of oak tannin. It's a little more tannic than the other ones, and I think I like it. I know I like it more than the Tribute. I'll put it equal with the Innkeeper for right now. All right, so I can only tell you so much about this story, okay, because it is top secret. Top secret. Yeah, sorry about your bad luck, bro. There's only so much I can say because it will be released at the Texas Whiskey Festival. We'll say that. So I got the opportunity to go and do blind judging for said Texas Whiskey Festival. Now, what does that mean? What I just said, dude. Like, you don't listen? I said what I said. No. I'm talking to myself in the third person here, or the fourth person, whatever. Fine. I got picked. I was one of, I think there was only seven of us this year. There was supposed to be 10 to do judging for the best Texas whiskeys. Like, I've already done there was a spider crawling off my head. So scared. No. I was one of the chosen few to help judge blindly the best Texas whiskeys. I have already done on my YouTube channel, I had done the best of Texas whiskey blinds, but that was different because it was blinds that me and 3 other people, the Bourbon Jerk, Your Drinking Buddy, and Old Fashioned Ways Plus, go follow all of them, please. We all sent each other samples, hand delivered, of course, each other's samples, and we went over them. So it was what I thought was the best, or what I was jiving on, I guess you could say. And they did the same. So there was a lot of the same whiskeys in the blind, and we picked what we picked. You'll have to go watch those to see what we picked. And then we attempted to do a barrel pick on it, and that fell to the wayside, like most things in life. They fall to the wayside because nobody has $10,000 to buy a barrel and have it distributed and do all the BS that comes with it. $10,000 expendable income, right? That you can just like, oh, well, buy a barrel. It's fine. So, that being said, so I was chosen to do this, and it was Thursday and Friday of this past week. I'm recording this on the Sunday of that said Thursday and Friday, so a couple days ago, and it was okay. It was excellent. It was absolutely fantastic, but it was a lot. It was a lot for me and on my plate. Okay. Because, and I'm going to caveat this inside a caveat, inside a caveat, inside a caveat, inside a, okay. Chill. Right. Okay. So I don't know if I told you about this or not, but I got some blood work back, not cancerous blood work. Don't worry about that. My body is having a hard time since we're coming off of chemo and all the things. It's turning. I don't know why. Nobody knows why yet. I think it's just because of stress or whatever. I don't know. My body is turning protein that you need to survive into sugar, which is like making my glucose spike, which is making me borderline diabetic. Not really. They said it like that, but they didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not diabetic at all. And so we're really watching what we're intaking and outtaking and, all of the things. And so the doctor, the newer doctor I have now, they're really concerned with that, because what's happening is your body starts eating muscle mass instead of the fat. Right. And I got a little bit of the fat still. So it needs to eat that and not the muscle mass that I'm gaining from working again. Right. So it's difficult. So I literally really only drink doing the podcast. I do my Sunday deep dives and have maybe one drink on the weekend. You know what I mean? Like an old fashioned or something like that. Don't really drink that much. Like, and if you look, the Patreon at home can see I have, a little more than a thimbleful of whiskey in here. Yes, there is 6 of them. So it'll be, I might be one and done today, or, have a bunch of water or stuff like that. But what I'm trying to say is, and I'm not trying to, make you feel sad or anything like that. I really have to watch my intake because your body processes whiskey into sugar as well. And acetaldehyde, which is not good for your liver either. So when your liver's already in stress, you see where I'm going? So I get called out to go to the Texas Whiskey Blind Challenge thing, and there's 56 different whiskeys that we have to drink in 2 days. Make it make sense. So I, being the person that I am and listening to direction and following directions from the doctors, my wife, my body, all of the things, I decided if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this very professionally. And this is no dig to anyone there. I am not talking crap. I am not saying anything. I don't care. You do what you have to do to get you by. We all are in different points in our life. I understand that. You do you. So I spit all of the whiskey out. Now, obviously, there's going to be whiskey left in your mouth. And when you swallow, you will swallow some of the alcohol. Yes. But in the 2 days, and I did at the very end, I did have a small, and we're talking a thimbleful, kind of like what I had on the glass of the winning whiskey, right? Just to say, oh, this is the one that won. And we had different categories, and I'll get into those here in a second. So I spit everything out. I had a spit cup, and it was literally almost full by the time I got done. And it was 2 days. So the first days, and this is, I'll get into it here. The first day we did bourbon and rye. Okay, so as you well know, those are pretty big categories, right? They are really like, there's a lot of people doing bourbon and rye, obviously. So just understanding that. Sorry, I'm trying to find the next whiskey in our lineup, which is none other than number 5, Sneakerhead. Now, if you remember earlier, Dixon was a sneaker fanatic. And so this one is the 5th release in the series. His love and passion for sneaker culture. It's rich with heavy mid-palate spice and pepper for a long, smooth. So I feel like it's over and over again. We're saying these things. So I'm hoping that this one. So the Kiwa blend, I'm leaving it at the innkeeper status because it had a really nice finish on it. Okay, so what we did is we did three blind samples in Glencairns brought to us. We knew them as one ABC or 1, 2, 3, and I think there was 20 categories in bourbon, just bourbon alone. Now that could be wheated bourbon, that could be high rye bourbon, that could be 100% corn bourbon, which 100% corn can still be bourbon. You know that, right? As long as it's in a new oak, follows all the guidelines, it just has to be 51% corn. Somebody argued with me about that once, and I'm like, bro, no, bourbon is corn. You don't have to have the adjunct grains. It has to be at least 51% corn, new oak, distilled at no higher than 160, all those things, and minimum 2 years old to be straight, right? Now, if you want to do a corn whiskey, it has to be 80%, at least 80% corn, and put in new or uncharred oak. Used or uncharred oak, if you want to consider it a corn whiskey. Okay. I don't know why. I mean, I'm not saying I'm the end all be all of whiskey, right? But people they get almost nasty sometimes, and I don't like it. I don't like it because like I'm not a big head type person. I have a big head, but I'm not like big headed about all my knowledge and stuff like that. I don't care. Like if you know more than me, please let me know and prove to me that I'm wrong. But most of the time it's a discrepancy in taste, flavor, or they read it somewhere that wasn't accurate normally. And that might be the case on this. But anyway, because I can tell you we tried some 100% corn whiskeys that were in the bourbon category. I'll just say that. So you're drinking through them and they give you anywhere between a half ounce or 3/4 of an ounce, depending. And they're hand pouring them. So like they're not like measuring them out or anything like that. So some might be as much as an ounce in there. So it's not like it's really monitored. So what I would do, and I don't know if this is the right way to do it. And I will tell you this, and this is from, me, I've drank whiskey for a long time. Sorry, my leg is getting sweaty from sitting in the shed too long. I don't know how to spit out whiskey. I know that sounds stupid, but I don't know how to spit it out. I have a hard time. And so I had to physically tell my mind, do not swallow this. And so what I would do is I would just salivate. And I know this is kind of gross, and I'm sorry to say that, but like I would like salivate a lot and it would dilute the whiskey, but I would get a lot of flavor from it. So I think the next time I do something like this, and I hopefully will be able to do something like this again, that's what I'm going to do, because like I got all the good parts of the whiskey and none of the intoxication. Now, am I poo-pooing somebody who does chugs it? No. It is, in my opinion, that is not the proper way to drink said whiskey. That is all I'm going to say about that. And it doesn't do the whiskey justice. And you are there to do a thing, not to get tipsy, get drunk, get schnockered, whatever you want to call it. You were there to, I called it a job, I was taking away from my work to come do that. I treated it as a job. And I know a couple of other people did too, treated it as a job. It was excellent, a lot of fun. But when you're going through that many whiskeys, and we did them pretty fast because we had a lot to go through, right? And as all we did was we write. I wrote, and everybody else was different, right? I knew that it was a bourbon. He did tell us that much. There was a bourbon category. I did put a proof guess, which that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what proof it is. And then I did 1 word or 2 words sometime tasting note, like sweet, spicy, ooh, wow, gross, things like that. And then you had to rank it between 1 to 5. 5 being, I will pick up 2 bottles of this and tell everybody about it. It's amazing. 0 being, this is trash, dump it down the drain. I didn't even smell the sneakerhead because I got a little. Okay, so on the nose, the sneakerhead is ethanol forward. I did just shake it, but it's ethanol forward. But vanilla, caramel, a little bit of granola maybe. And on the taste, I did take a little taste. I'm sorry. Cherry for days, but it's almost medicinal cherry. It's not bad. I would put it, yeah. I would put it right there. I still think I like the Innkeeper a little bit more. Anyway, moving on to my story. We have one more to get through, guys. So this might be a little bit of a longer episode, but that's okay. Because I still have some other things to talk about. So anyway, okay. So we did the blind 3 in a row, and then every one we would score them. And so like on the sheet, and I I'm not going to get it. It's fine. It said 0, it's trash, throw it away. 1, it's not good, would not recommend. 2, it's good, just it has some, there's no faults in it. It's just not my preference. 3 is good, and I would buy a bottle. 4 was it's excellent, and I would refer it to a friend and buy a bottle. And 5 was I tell, shout it from the rooftops. That was basically how it went. That's not exactly, but, and so I was scoring. Okay. I'm sorry. As you well know, I have the certified Texas whiskey banner. I can't even point to it. Where my arm doesn't go that way. Right there. I love Texas whiskey. I'm a Texas boy. The entire top row right here is all Texas whiskey. I love it. But Texas whiskey has a lot of work to do. There was some in there, and I don't even know who they are. And I'm glad I don't. That needed a lot of work. And that's just in the bourbon category. They didn't taste like bourbon. They were too hot. They were too spicy. They were too fiery. They were angry. They were weak. They were too grassy. Like, I gave so many 2s. Like, it's okay. It's not great. It's okay. I mean, if somebody poured me some, I'd drink it. But there's better whiskey out there. Did it dishearten me? No, it did not. Because there was some really good ones in there too. Some dark horses, as some would say, come sneaking in there. Some dark horses. So we did the bourbon, and it took a while. We even had to stop. We waited till we got done with bourbon. Yeah, we waited till we did the whole thing. I'm sorry, I'm getting my days mixed up. Jake, the owner of the Texas Whiskey Festival, asked us if we wanted to stop at bourbon, go eat lunch, and then do rye after lunch. And everybody was like, no, let's just keep going, and we'll eat a late lunch, right? And so I don't know if that was, I'll tell you, it was the best option. So we're drinking through the bourbons, and they're coming 3 at a time. Some of them were good, some of them weren't. They increasingly got higher proof. So just understand that. That is something he did do. He said the lower proof ones are going to be at the beginning, the higher proof ones will be at the end. So there was a flavor and intense difference through that. But I will tell you, spitting out the whiskey, you still got quite a bit of. Now, obviously, you don't get the same as when you drink the whiskey and you pour it down, and you can kind of get the retro nasal. You don't get as much retro nasal on it, but you still get. I would say you get. I don't know. I don't want to put a number on it. Maybe 85%. Yeah, maybe 85% of the tasting notes. You get 85% of them. So I'm going back into the sneakerhead real fast, and I don't know if y'all guys like this, like me having a little drink through and talking about other stuff, but the nose is really nice on the sneakerhead again. See, like right there, I should have spit if I was doing the competition. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice, but it does get a little tannic. It's a little ethanol-y at the end. I might push that one back just a tad from the Kiwa. Yeah. So right now it's Innkeeper, Kiwa, Sneaker, Tribute, then Phoenix. Just saying. But we got one more to go. So let me get some water, and then I'll continue my story. So then we moved on to rye. Rye was surprising. I'm going to tell you this. Cool things happening in rye in Texas. Most of them, if not all of them, got at least a 2.5. Yeah. I would pick up any of those rye whiskeys. One of them was very distinct, and I knew exactly what it was as soon as I tried it. Actually, 2 of them. One I bottle guessed. Yes, I bottle guessed a whiskey. I knew exactly what it was because they decided, and I'm not going to tell you who, they decided to put a finished whiskey, a finished rye in the rye category. Now, we had a category of whiskey called finished whiskeys. It could be rye, whatever, it doesn't matter. They decided to put that rye in their rye category. It was a finished, and guess what it was finished in? Amburano. Yeah. So I knew exactly what whiskey it was as soon as it came out. It was good. Don't get me wrong, it was good. It was almost tropical fruit, like a pina colada. It was not bad. But did it meet a rye profile? That's the thing. When you're judging other whiskeys to this, and does it meet that rye profile? Or did it do exactly what it said it was going to do? But you don't know what it's trying to do. If it's trying to be a traditional rye, it's way off. It's way off a traditional rye. Is it good? Yeah, it's good. But it is not a traditional rye. Like all these others were they were in line with each other, and it made it very difficult to pick one over another. But that one stood out, and then there was another one that I won't tell you that stood out. You know how hard it is not for me not to tell you, right? It stood out as well because the flavors of it, you would know exactly what distillery it was. And I think two of us knew exactly which one it was. I didn't know the exact bottle, but I knew the exact distillery for sure. But the Amburano finished one, I nailed the bottle as well. So not to get brownie points or anything. It's not like it was extra, I didn't get anything for it other than you got it. Some street cred, I guess, maybe. All right, let's move on to the last one. The last one. And this one I have high hopes for because it better have high hopes. Because this is none other than the Gem of Kentucky. Yes. And Dylan, you're a baller, bro, because I know this is not a cheap whiskey. And for you to send me over a sample of this, I really appreciate it. This is a single barrel. It's coming at 108 proof. And I'm going to read you from their website. It is the only single barrel Kentucky bourbon on the market. Did you know that? It's what it says on there. It was exclusively selected by Dixon, and it had high rye, 35% rye. Spent a year in a new charred oak barrel before it was bottled. It is full flavored expression, double barrel, rich, more viscous mouthfeel. The difference of char levels, secondary barreling allows complex flavors to develop and balance the spice of the high rye distillate. I'm excited about that. Speaking of rye, now we got a high rye. That's nice. That's nice already. I can smell the rye for sure, but it's like caramel, vanilla, rye. Like you have rye bread, and then you put some like honey butter or something like that on it with maybe some vanilla. I don't know, vanilla cream. Did you hear what I did there? I did the I told myself I was going to stop doing that. It's so hard not to do. Okay. That's nice. That's real nice. God, I'm a tater. I can feel it. I'm a freaking tater. I am. I'm a tater. Call me a tater. You know when something's good and when something's not. And that's good caveat to going back to what we were talking about. You should, in your whiskey journey, at one point be able to pinpoint, do you like it or do you not like it? I know. You should be able to be like, that's good, or, ooh, that's not my flavor profile. Not to say, here's the thing. And these headphones, paid a lot of money for them and they're hurting my ears. Not to say anything about any distiller out there making product. Okay. If you're out there making product, putting product on the shelf, I applaud you. Okay. Does it meet my profile all the time? Absolutely not. But we should be able to distinguish. Excuse me. Is it good or is it not? right? We should be able to distinguish that. Is it good or is it not? And you can taste a whiskey and be like, I like that right away. Or, ah, okay. So then we moved after we went to rye. The next day, we finished. We went to go eat lunch. It was a late lunch. I had water the rest of the night. Two of the guys wanted to go up to the vault when we got back, and I was fine with that. I went up to the vault. I poured some whiskey for people because when you go to, I forgot to even tell you this. We were at the Wizard Academy in Austin doing all of this, and that is where the whiskey vault is. And me being a sommelier, I have the ability to go into the vault, pour you whiskey because they can only be poured by a sommelier. That's just one of the things that they have. There's 2,000, little over, maybe more whiskeys in that room. Everything from Weller Antique 107 to a single barrel Ardbeg. Yeah, there's everything. A lot of it's weird. A lot of it's some really weird whiskey. I saw a lot of craft, which I was excited about. I saw a lot of craft whiskey in there, and then a lot of crap whiskey in there too, like Kessler's and Military Special, and all of these whiskeys that nobody's gonna drink. So understand that. So if you guys want a special trip to the Whiskey Vault with a guided tour from a whiskey sommelier, hit me up. I would gladly do that for you. So they wanted to go back to the vault. Guys had a couple drinks. I hung out, drank some water, did my thing because I know, like, I want to be able to drink during the weekend, because that's like my relaxing time. I want to be able to do a podcast and have a little pour with y'all, right? I want to be able to do that. And I don't want to be, drinking all week long because that's just it's not good for anybody, especially somebody who is recovering from an illness or a disease or living with, or whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter at this point. I kicked its ass. We'll just say that. Me and, the Lord kicked its ass. I just sat there and took all the stuff. So it didn't die, so whatever. It's fine. But so the next day we did, which was Friday morning, and I actually stayed the night at the Wizard Academy, and because they have rooms there for the sommeliers and for other people coming into town. If you're a donor, you get those privileges, and I was able to stay on campus. We got to talk a lot. I told my testimony to a couple people, and this is going to be the shaman part of the show here, but I was able to tell people about my personal journey and what I went through and how the Lord has blessed me and everything that I have, and the fact that I'm sitting here and able to talk to you and do this and do the thing is a blessing. And I was able to give them that, and hopefully give some people who might not have had hope before, give them a little hope. And I think that's what the Lord left me on this earth for. I'm just saying, I don't know. We don't know the way our life's supposed to go, right? We just follow how we're supposed to. And that's kind of where it's at, and so it was a great day. And, of course I miss my family. I'm a homebody, right? I want to stay at home. I want to hang out. Like, my wife gets mad at me when I come in here for an hour and do a podcast with you guys. She doesn't get mad at me, but you know what I mean? She's like, I want to spend my time with you, and I'm like, I get it. I love my family. I love my kids. I love hanging out. And it's spring break this next week. Unfortunately, I had to work a lot, which I'm not, not unfortunate, like, I'm very fortunate to have work, but I'd love to spend the day with them. And I might, I don't know yet. I got a lot of work to do though. So, but the Lord will tell me when and if I need to do that. So we'll worry about that then. Anyway, let's get back on this Gemma Kentucky, which, appropriately named, right? And the nose is nice on it. It's a cream cheese frosting with maybe a cherry drizzle over the top. It's viscous, oily. It is a little tannic and a little proofy. Not proofy in like ethanol-y, I guess you could say. It's only 108. It's like 4 proof points higher. I say only 108, but it is by far the best. So it is by far the best. So, end all be all, Gem of Kentucky. Go get you some if you can find it. I think it's sold out already, whatever. Okay, so the next day we did we did flavored whiskeys. Yeah, there was only 4 or 5 of them. Some of them were good. So when you get to flavored whiskeys, what you have to do is say, did it do what it said it was going to do? You can't base it on, is it a bourbon? Is it a rye? No, you can't base it on that because that's not what it's trying to be. Like one of them was Atomic Fireball. Not Fireball, the whiskey, the Atomic Fireball hot candies. That's exactly what it tasted like. And I'm like, did it meet that? Hell yeah, it did. It tasted exactly like it. And so I gave it higher marks because that's what it was going for. There was one that was really confusing. There was one that was not good. And then there was one that I was like, that's good, but I don't know what it is. And then when I realized what it was, I was like, oh, I don't get that. I was saying something completely different. Yeah. The winner was the winner because it smelled and tasted the best. That's all I can say. And that's for all of these, right? That's for all of these. The winner is the winner because it tasted and smelled the best, no matter what category you're in. But there was a new category this year, which I was excited about, which was the light whiskey category. And if you don't know anything about light whiskey, you need to go check some out because light whiskey is whiskey, right? But it's distilled above 160 proof. So anything above that, before you get to vodka, right? It's not 95%, but it's in that higher echelon. And a lot of times it's put into used oak. So the color on it is super light. It was no question who won because they've been doing it for a minute. There were some cool entries. I was excited about the entries. I was intrigued actually about the entries. And then we moved to finished. We did malt whiskeys. So single malts, American single malts. Those were all amazing. All of them were great. I gave high marks to every one of them except the very last one. The very last one was, you could tell malt was not their category, but they came out with one. And so I applaud them. I do. I applaud them for trying. They need to rail it in a little bit because it was not great. It was not great. It was overly one note that was not good. And I'm not going to say the note because I don't want to incriminate anybody and I don't want anybody to think negatively of one whiskey to the other. But there was a standout, and the one that won, I didn't expect it. I literally didn't expect it. Which was really kind of cool and cool for Texas whiskey, actually. And then we did finished whiskeys. Now, this was finished in another cask. It could be French oak. It could be double oaked. It could be port wine, vermouth, whatever. And it could be any category. It could be a rye, a bourbon, a malt. It didn't matter. So that one was, for me, was the hardest because I had, and I was putting these things upon myself, right? I had to gauge, was it a malt? Was it a bourbon? Was it a rye? And what was it finished in? Because that's what I put in front of myself. I was like, I want to pick the finish on it. And I think I nailed the finish on 2 of them. Because you can tell. Like, you can tell when it's a heavily port influenced, or you can tell when it's a heavily like sherry influenced, or Amberona influenced. You can tell. Like, you basically, on one of them I got the influence. I just didn't get the distillery right, which nobody's judging you on that. Like, I was judging myself on that. So just understand, I put way higher expectations on myself than anybody else did. They were like, is it good? Is it not? Give it a score. Right. And some of them I scored fairly high because they were good whiskeys. So all in all, to wrap this up, all in all, it was, the past 2 weeks have been freaking wow, amazing, right? But I will tell you something that has made me feel, and this is a feeling that I have. It has given me so much hope for the whiskey community and the Texas whiskey community, because the camaraderie of people that come around Texas whiskey and come around whiskey, period, it is so uplifting. And it is not just like, hey, let's drink some whiskey and get drunk. That's not what it's about. It's about hanging out. It's about being with like-minded people, but it's also about like finding really cool whiskeys, right? So like there's almost a divide in there where like, yes, we are whiskey connoisseurs, whiskey nerds, whiskey whatever, but at the same time, we're still people, right? Don't look at us differently just because, and I'm going to get into that episode, just because we have a collection, right? Or just because we have preferences of whiskey, or just because we have a whiskey podcast or whatever. Don't look at us differently. We're still human, right? We're still people, and we still live, love, and learn through everything. But my wife said something last night. She said, live, love, and leave by 9 o'clock. And I love that. I love that because I'm a homebody, like I said earlier. And by 9 o'clock, I'm like, peace out. I'm going to bed. It's funny. It's funny though. Yeah, I don't know. It was an amazing time, and I was able to spend time with some amazing people. Got to meet people that I hadn't met before, influential people in the whiskey community, and that's a big deal for me. Obviously, doing what I do on the side, that's a big deal for me, and I'm hoping to have said people be in my circle a little bit more. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like being around them in a setting where you're being vulnerable is easy to then call on them when you need them. Understand that. And I think that'll make more sense in the future. I'm hoping. Okay. My final thoughts on 2XO. It's good. Some of them aren't great, right? For a blend that should be, I don't want to say impeccable, which is I think they're all limited edition. My least favorite was the Phoenix, the first one they did. My favorite was the Gem, obviously. Then I would have to go Innkeeper, then Sneakerhead, then Kiwa, and then Tribute, and then Phoenix. It was really intriguing. They're very similar. All of the profile is very similar. It gets a little better as it goes, which is kind of cool. Which means they're evolving and getting better and better as they go. And I know Dixon Dedman he worked with Kentucky Owl, and he's no dummy to the whiskey community at all. So I can't thank him enough for putting these out there as well. And obviously Dylan for sending over this this sample pack, because I know that these are not cheap bottles, and I appreciate that so much. And make sure you go give Whiskey House Pub House a follow. And when we're talking, since we're talking about giving follows and likes and subscribes, I need 5-star reviews. I need them, because if you want to see cool people come on this show and do podcasty things, right? Or if you want to hear me talk about cool things, I need 5-star reviews, because the more 5-star reviews I have, the more the algorithm lets people see this type of content more and more and more. So without those 5-star reviews, I can't do that. Now, you can give me a 5-star review and say you hate everything about the show. I don't care. The algorithm doesn't look at what you put in the subtext. It only looks at the 5-star review. So if you want to be a hater, you can be a 5-star hater, right? That's fine. And, I don't care. I don't care. Like, here's the thing. If you like my content, that's great. I love it. And I love you for it. And there's some of you who have supported silently just by giving a like or giving a listen to a show. You've supported silently for 2 years now. And I appreciate that so much. Like, you are the backbone of what makes this podcast what it is, right? But giving a 5-star review, giving a comment, giving a following me on YouTube and giving a like and a follow and a subscribe there as well. I know a lot of you aren't on YouTube, and I get that. But all of this helps all of that at the same time. It's all one conglomerate thing. It's like the CIA, FBI, we're all working for each other. Oh, wait, hold on. Anyway, I'm sorry. I had to throw something in there, right? I did, especially this late in the game. So I can't thank you all enough for hanging out with me. It's been a lot of fun. The whiskeys are great. It's been a great 2 weeks hanging out, doing whiskey things, doing cooking things, doing blind judging. Like, I never thought I'd be a blind judge on something. So this is just furthering my whiskey education and my whiskey knowledge and my I don't want to say whiskey cred, but my whiskey cred, right? Letting people know that I am a thing and I'm worth it, right? I am holy and highly favored in God's eyes, as so are you. So make sure that you go to patreon.com/the whiskey shaman if you want to see the video of this, of me sitting in the shed wearing my Into the AM shirt, drinking some samples that were given to me. If you want to see that, if you want it before the episode exclusives, by now if you've listened to 4 episodes, you're hooked. Oh, I stole that from Chill Filter, just to let you know. I have a bunch of stuff I need to do with them. Anyway, it's coming in the future, I promise, guys. And then I have next week, I am on my YouTube, I am putting out a blind of all of the Wellers. Hopefully it'll come out next week. I got to edit it. It's a long video. I got to edit it. I'm hopefully going to put that out. It's going to surprise you. Maybe. All right. So I get out of here because I got to go play some games and we're having some fun and doing things. But y'all be good. Be nice to each other. Drink water. Water, it's good for you. Some people say water isn't good for you. I don't know what they... Do animals drink Gatorade? Do animals drink protein stuff? No, they don't. They just drink water. But then their bodies are different than ours, obviously. I get it. And water, they strip the nutrients out of it a lot of time. But anyway, enough said. I appreciate y'all for being here, hanging out with me. It's been a blast. I'm glad I finally got to do this. It's been sitting on the counter for a couple months. I'm sorry. I'm happy to be here, and I hope you are too. Y'all be good. And until next time, keep your spirits up. Peace out.